The Detroit Bad Boys, what can I say? They have been a legacy since the 1980s, and now they're back. Average age 28, 3 championships, market size pretty medium, total budget 246 mil. They got some rivals, but this is the Bad Boys. They have a long legacy of boisterous crowds, boisterous teams, being loud, being accepted by their city, because their city is right hand in hand with the attitude they had, which was physical, hard, tough. You know, if you gotta fight it out, you gotta fight it out. It don't matter, you know. It was really face to face, in your face type of thing. You know, they started rocking the black when the Detroit Bad Boys was really rocking in the 80s, the 1988-89 championship back-to-back. They were the stop before Jordan, you know what I mean? Like, Jordan was drafted in 85. He didn't get to the finals until 1992, partially because of the late Celtics and these young Detroit Pistons. So, the Detroit Bad Boys are back. They walked off, and now they're back with a whole new lineup. And it starts with Gary Payton. You know, Gary Payton is 6'4", he's about 210. You know, he comes from Oakland, California. You know, my boy from the hood, you know what I mean? He's seen a lot of things, done a lot of things. He has a lot of connections, you know what I mean? He had a whole lot of West Coast connections. You really had to get through a lot of people to get through GP. GP just wasn't no regular dude out there on the court. So that came with a lot of, you know, boisterousness. It came with a lot of loudness. He was the #1 trash talker. Honestly, if Gary Payton didn't trash talk to you, you probably weren't nothing on the court, to be honest. Because you weren't really worth to be trash talked to if Gary Payton wasn't trash talking to you. You know, he's been on a few teams, the Sonics, the Celtics, the Heat, the Lakers. But he's been successful on damn near all of those teams. He's been to the finals on the Sonics. You know, he had to go against Jordan. A lot of these legends had to go against Jordan from 85 all the way till 99, you know. So, like, you know, a lot of times there's a lot of championships not being accepted because Jordan is in the league. But Gary Payton was no slouch. He knew how to dribble, pass, score, three-pointer, dunk on people, lay up, throw alley-oops to his teammates. He was a defensive leader. He was the #1 defensive guy. He was going to guard the best offensive guy on the other team. He was going to talk trash in his face. He was going to touch him. He was going to, you know, he was going to be all over him. And he was going to talk shit to anybody, whether Michael Jordan, a next upcoming legend. It didn't matter. It was going to be GP or nothing. So, he's the starting point guard of our Detroit Bad Boys team. And next we're going to have John Starks. John Starks played in the 90s on the New York Knicks. If you haven't heard of their rivalry with Jordan and the Pacers, very, very physical guard. Kind of has the same background as Kurt Warner from football a little bit. Not even played, but he worked at a store and got called up to the NBA. And so he had a little bit of chip on his shoulder, you know what I mean? He played during the 90s, so he had to play against Jordan. So he didn't regard certain people as the stars that they were. He didn't see Jordan as the Michael Jordan. He just saw Jordan as Jordan. So a lot of times, from the Jordan rules that the Pistons created by hitting up Jordan and roughing him up a little bit, you know, certain rules started to happen, certain texts, you know, people getting called out because they were roughing up Jordan, and John Starks was one of them, you know. John Starks didn't give a fuck about how Jordan felt, or the league, or the NBA, and he did this with a lot of the other stars like Reggie Miller and stuff like that, because He didn't back down. He came from nothing, and he was going to show you that, yeah, I'm here with everybody else, and there ain't nobody going to stop me. So, John Starks is definitely the starting guard for the Detroit Bad Boys. Ron Artest, it's almost like he doesn't even need an introduction for the resume of bad boy stuff that he's done. But we're going to talk about it anyway. This is Ron Artest. He's around like 6'7", 6'8". He was drafted around 230, but as his career went along, he started to gain muscle, like real weight. When he was in his prime, he was around like 245, 250. I think on the Lakers, he was around 260. Pure muscle, man. This guy's from New York. He's from the projects. You know what I'm saying? Like this man has seen a lot too. You know what I'm saying? So he definitely had a chip on his shoulder. He's also a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy has been aggressive since he was drafted. He had the Malice at the Palace where he fought fans. He smacked James Harden with his elbow in the head. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of things Ron Artest, he tries to mask or cover it up, but it's so hard to stop that aggression that's coming out of him. This man he's nothing to be played with, you know what I'm saying? So it's best not to play with him. He was on the Pacers, he was on the Lakers, he was on the Rockets, he was on the Kings. He's won some championships with Kobe, and him and Kobe have been physical together, and that's why they had a respect for each other, and that's why they were able to play well together. He can shoot, he can dribble, he can play make, and his best known attribute is defense. He's gonna guard your best player on the other team who's gonna score, and he's gonna do well. He's gonna do well every single time that he guards that best player, because no one's getting past him. Even though he may not be the fastest, he's gonna angle himself correctly, because all of these guys are heady. These are all tough, heady guys on this Bad Boys team, and he's gonna be the anchor as far as the defense, and that's pretty hard to do, especially on this team. Dennis Rodman is one of the original Detroit Bad Boys. Okay, he was on the team in the 80s. He did not have dyed hair, and he wasn't as famous, but he was in the beginning of this video, rebounding, dunking, dribbling the ball up the court. Very agile guy. And what happened from the Jordan rules is that he just decided, if you can't beat him, you gotta join him. So he continued on with his bad boy era, but he was able to do it because he joined Jordan. He didn't do this against Jordan, so it didn't look as crazy. But it still looks crazy because he's doing it to these other guys. But hey, he's still in the game. He's still not getting ejected for the most part, unless he wanted to. So, he was kind of like a hitman low-key, just rebounding and roughing up the other players. That's how you do it. You just wear them down all game. Joel Embiid, he's not necessarily a bad boy. He's almost a bad boy on Twitter. He has a lot of bad boy Twitter fingers on his hands. But as far as real life, his best known videos, him crying in a hallway, which he probably can do on this Detroit Bad Boys team. So Steven Jackson is the next guy. He was also on that Pacers team with Ron Artest when they went in the stands in Detroit, by the way, and fought the fans. They're not apologetic about it. They think they deserve it. It's not a bad thing that they think this way. Yeah, Steven Adams. Shout out to Stack 5 too. Well-known blood. Steven Adams, he's not necessarily a bad boy, but he manhandles the whole NBA. Big guys fall, he stops them from falling. Little guys are in the way, he picks them up and moves them. Yeah, Colin Sexton, He has nothing but tenacity in his eyes. This man has fire in his eyes, and he's ready to fuck up the league at any moment. I'm ready to stand up and cheer every time I watch him. I've been watching him since he was in high school. This kid has superstar written all over him. He just has to figure out the playmaking part. But the intensity part is there. Patrick Beverley. I think some people know about Patrick Beverley if you're an avid basketball watcher or just kind of a casual knower of basketball. He's the guy that pests. He pests everyone in the NBA that he guards because he's almost a paid hitman to wear down the other team, basically. And he goes against, once again, the best offensive guy, and he's just supposed to wear him down. And a lot of time the teams that he's on don't want to admit it, but they really kind of pay him to play after the whistle. They pay him to do dirty plays. They pay him to play very intense defense, and that's about it. You know, he's very average at dribbling, very average at assists. He's getting more and more average at shooting. He had a little bit of a three before, so he has a little bit of a reputation of hitting a three. But for the most part, he's known for doing things to the other guy so that their mind is not in the game and they're on Patrick Beverley. You know, that's basically what it's about. It's about the offensive guy that we may have to worry about. His brain isn't as in the game as it used to be before such and such play with Patrick Beverley. Now he's a little off. He may be playing a little bit more angry than he needs to be, or he may be in his head more than he needs to be, or he may just be worried or looking at Patrick Beverley, or even worse, like in the case of Russell Westbrook, you may be getting injured from the antics of Patrick Beverley, and sometimes it's not the greatest thing, you know, but Patrick Beverley's from Chicago. He's from the city of Chicago. He's ready for anything. He's seen a lot of things. He's not afraid of anyone. You know, he's one of those John Starks guys from the Jordan era, except now it's the LeBron era. Still, it's the same thing. He doesn't care. So the next guy is Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart is a 6'3", 6'4" combo guard. Kind of average at assists and passing, but a very good playmaker. It's a difference. Pretty good at dribbling. Pretty average at shooting. He's always been average at shooting since the draft. He hasn't really... I mean, I guess he's upgraded a little bit in his shooting, but not that much. I heard about him from in college right before the draft because he pushed a fan. And I was like, yo, that dude is real. I fuck with him. So PJ Tucker is the next guy. He's one of those I am what I am. I'm from where I'm from, and I'm just a man first, and you're not gonna take that away from me, guys. At the end of the day, you're really just gonna he's really just gonna tell you, like, what are you gonna do about it? You're not gonna do anything about it, basically. Like, no one's gonna do anything about how he feels or what he's doing. And that's it rubs off the wrong way to some people, and it comes off like extra tough, I guess, to some people. But at the end of the day, I don't think anyone's going to do anything about it. You know what I mean? And, you know, there's Steven Adams right there. He's usually the designated guy to move guys around. But, yeah, PJ Tucker, he's a guy who's pretty stylish outside of the court. You know what I mean? He's only 6'5", but he's a good 240, 230. So he has a little bit of weight on him. He's not one of those just little guys. You know, you can't just move him. You can't just, unless you're Steven Adams. You know what I mean? So he's one of those guys that he's gonna test you. He's gonna try and get in your face and do whatever he can, almost like Patrick Beverly. And this is a team of guys that are just really heady on the court. They just really know what to do. They're playmakers. Jay Crowder, another one of those guys. I'm not gonna bore you with another fight compilation of Jay Crowder, but yeah, Precious Achua, I believe, really young guy, and Maxi Kleber, a German person, I believe, just to mix it up, just to have some shooting on there because I don't think there's a lot of shooting on this team. Tom Thibodeau is the head coach with Popeye Jones as the assistant. Popeye Jones used to play in the league. I believe he played for the Raptors at some point or the Hawks. Tom Thibodeau is the coach, and he's basically the Chuck Daly replacement. He's a little bit more fiery than Chuck Daly, but that's okay. They got post defense, perimeter defense, agility, strength is a strength, vertical and passing. That's a lot of just defense and headiness and just athleticism. Their home uniform is 313, respect the code, Detroit, Michigan. That is Gary Payton right there, and his signature GPs right there. That is the home uniform, the away uniform, Detroit versus everybody. Sponsored by Little Caesars, in case you can't see that right there. And the alternate uniform right here, Detroit Bad Boys with the orange and things on the side. That's it, right there. That is the Detroit Bad Boys. We did a little scrimmage after just to see what things were shaking up to look like, and things are looking very, very physical, and I like it. This is going to be a concept. This is going to be a concept league, so you're really going to have to strategize and focus on really getting your team to do the right things, because every team is going to be different. Every team is going to be almost a concept like this. It gives me NBA Street Volume 3 or Volume 2 vibes, where you're going around and you may face a squad of number 1 draft picks or whatever the case may be. Yeah, this is it, except it's on steroids now. Welcome to Steroid MyLeague.